Hello, good morning, Merry Meet. This is High Priestess Jamila. I set up this show to be done at about 11 a.m., but Spirit said, you need to really get this message, this very urgent message, to people today on a Friday, um, and as quickly as possible. Okay. So we're going to talk about why most women, it may be okay for some women to submit to a man in his will, but why it is certainly not okay for us women to submit to a man, especially Black men. Okay. And we're going to talk about this because Black men talk about this a lot, in particular, the ones that are on YouTube. And you guys know that there is a current war between Black men and Black women, and it's the war is real. Okay, but unfortunately, these Black men are going to lose that war. And I'm going to talk about the spiritual reason, and just kind of talk to y'all in general about this. This is really important. I know a lot of you women are very, very interested in this subject. And, this is one of the reasons why Black men, especially, were very upset about the Black Candle Vigil. And instead of them understanding what their place is as a man, they decided to try to work against it, and it backfired on them, and it will forever and always backfire on them. So, why should most women not submit to men? And especially being that it is not okay for a Black woman to do that for the Black man. And like I said, it depends on who you are. It really depends on your journey, where you are at in your journey, what it is that you are trying to accomplish. Okay. Now, one of the reasons why women, and this is white women, Black women, all races of women should never submit to the Black man, is because the Black community is way too impoverished. Submitting to the Black man, depending on who he is. And what I've noticed is that most Black men have an impoverished state of being. Most of them do. Not all of them. But a lot of the spiritual reasons as to why you shouldn't, we're going to get into that. And we're going to get into why the Black man is a betrayer of life, a lot of them, and how a lot of them really need to be careful with the things that they're doing and the way that they're moving. Which is why, if a Black woman really loves and cares about her sons, she will be very careful about how she is presenting herself as a woman to her sons, and how she is presenting her son, how she is presenting life to her sons. Because see, this is very, very important, and it has a lot to do with spiritual reasons. Um, Black women mainly are the ones that understand this. And those of you Black women that do have a decent man that is not a misogynist, that is not afflicted Many of them are afflicted with generational curses and entities that keep them either in misery or poverty. This is the reason why Black people that get together, they consider it to be struggle love. But no matter what, if a man is all about struggle, and especially a Black man, he's going to bring that struggle into the lives of any woman that he gets with, not just Black women. Part of the reason why women that want to get anywhere in life should not submit to a Black man, especially if he is not a provider, especially if he is the type of man that is competing with you. A lot of that has to do with these DNA changes that the Black man has been through throughout the generations. His DNA has changed. And a lot of them, which is why, women have to be careful how they present their sons to the goddess of this earth, of this earthly plane. A lot of men, not just Black men, they are seen as an enemy to the earth. This is why we read so many stories, we hear so many stories about men killing their wives, killing their children. And so men within themselves, they have to be careful. One of the reasons why smart men are usually very subservient to the woman, it's not like it's got to be something sick, but many of them that are smart enough to be respectful to a woman is because of the issues and the problems that a lot of men have created on the earth in their confusion. Okay. And as a woman, when you submit to a man, you just have to really figure out what it is exactly that you are submitting to. If you are submitting to sickness and illness and torture and poverty and confusion and depression and sadness and fear, then you are submitting to the wrong man. Now, I don't think it's anything wrong with a woman submitting, but it's never going to be the correct choice for most of us, because most men, Black or white, are not worthy of being submitted to. And even when you look at history, when you look at Henry VIII, one of the reasons why so many women, and even in that time, submitted to Henry VIII and a lot of the people, is because, this was a man of status. This was a man that if you marry him, you're going to live in a castle with maids and servants, and you're going to have everything handed to you hand and foot. But a lot of these men, they walk around with nothing in their pocket, nothing to offer you except for arguments and sadness and frustration. And they have the nerve to be asking women to submit to them. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Most women are not going to submit to you. And the problem is that this is something that they just won't accept. No woman should submit to a man that is harmful to her mind, body, spirit, and physical reality. And let's face it, one of the biggest things that has been talked about and what's going to be talked about over and over again is not only domestic violence, but then also emotional abuse and spiritual abuse. And this is a war that men are going to lose. And the men that they expect to just say screw it all, they're not going to be stupid enough to do that, because a lot of these men are willing to self destruct rather than to admit that they're wrong. Men are emotionally and mentally weaker than women. This is a fact. A lot of them, the spirituality and the religion that they are practicing has led to inconsolable souls that roam the earth, and we already have too many of that. So this is one of the reasons why it's going to get cut off at the head. The main reason why women should not submit to the black man is because he has submitted to something else lesser than him. So black men, for the most part, especially the ones that are colonized in America, they are submitting to something that destroys them totally. And even though their lifespan gets lesser and lesser, they are too ignorant to realize that not only has their lifespan went down, they are dying younger and younger, but they are also not smart enough to understand that this is something that they can't get out of. So when it comes to reincarnation and creation, they come back and they do it. They have came back. Hey Trinity, they have came back to do it over and over again. And for some reason, they have gotten more ignorant as they have incarnated in each lifetime. And instead of them listening to reason and spirit, they ignore it and they lie and they are in denial. So, this is the reason why the black man right now is at the bottom of the totem pole, but white men ain't no different. They're not. There are, and that's why when I be looking at people and when I look at these divestors of the black man on YouTube, and when I look at the women that are divesting and they're saying, well, I'm divesting from the black man and I'm going to get a white man. But that white man ain't no better. He ain't no different. He's just as confused as the black man. Granted, there are more black men, like when it comes to the scales of the black man, at least 80% of them, you can't do nothing with them. And they know I'm telling the truth. You can't do nothing with 80% in. Okay, now if you are a person that wants to stay in a struggle and in poverty and a slave, then you're going to get along famously with a black man. With 80% of them, you're going to get along with them great, because a lot of black men, they have decided to submit to slavery. A lot of them are enslaved in their minds. So, and you can't stop them. You can't make them different, because this is something that they have to figure out for themselves. So, one of the reasons why most black men are not going to be the type of man that you want to be with is because they are factually limited. They limit themselves a lot. They believe whatever is told to them. They're too obedient. All they do is obey, and they don't even really know who the hell they are obeying. They will obey an order and they don't even know where it came from. They don't want freedom. They want to stay in bondage because they are so focused on keeping the woman in bondage. So because their focus is all about limiting you and keeping you in chains, they have to do it to themselves at the same time. And since a lot of them are so self-destructive, they're going to affect you because of how they feel about self. And the black man, for some reason, he feels lesser than other races of men, Arabic men, white men, Asian men, um, um, all races of men. For some reason, black men feel lesser than other races of men. This is what affects black men every day. So this is the reason why if you are a woman with a black man, you cannot ever hardly submit to him. I don't believe in the submission to any man anymore. This is something that has to be done. And this doesn't matter if you're, especially for women, because as you can see, men will take a totally different situation. They will take a situation that is good and they will totally destroy it. So men as a whole can be very destructive. And as women, we can't allow men to run amok. They are affecting everybody vibrationally all over the earth with their ignorance and their pettiness. And so this is the reason why you wake up every day and you suicidal and you're looking at a world filled with men, white and black and everything in between, who are factually creating destruction on the earth and expecting women to submit to this destruction younger and younger. When you look at people like Sidney Poitier and Betty White and some of the other people that have passed away recently, these are heirloom people. Most of us, most of the population is at risk of dying horrible deaths because men refuse to admit to their mistakes. They worship a God that basically doesn't even really exist. Not really. The God that most of them worship does exist, but that God exists in their heart. It's kind of connected to the planet Chiron. But even with that, they look at it through such a limited point of view. They have tried to over and over again rid the world of witches, which translates to wisdom, intelligence, survival. Most men that are against witches are some of the dumbest that are on the planet. Now, I totally understand an evil witch that is creating malice and mayhem where it doesn't need to be. But why do all of these so-called smart men always gravitate towards those types of witches? A woman that is bitter, that can't see the forest from the trees. For example, with my situation, imagine if, with what I just recently went through, I would be stupid enough to sit here and continue to go through the negative cycle and decide I am going to go out into this world and put wrath on the whole world because of this one ignorant man that can't get his mind right. Then I would be a problem. See, I'm smarter than that. So I'm not going to do that because I know that this is one man with a problem. So I'm not going to go out there and just, oh God, I'm going to become a savage beast and try to destroy the world. No, I'm going to stay on my path, regardless to what this ignorant man did and thought that he was going to do something. See, a lot of y'all women, a lot of y'all witches whose purpose is to save the world and Mother Earth. A lot of y'all are they're trying to deter you from your path. So if I were to be dumb enough to allow a man to deter me from my path, become depressed and, start, being all upset with my children and, not being able to see very clearly the blessings and the fact that, when it comes to that, because I mean, it's been done over and over and over and over again. I know that you have power, but instead of you using that power to help the world and to heal the world, I want to try to force you to use your power to create more destruction in the world. So I'm going to take you through a destructive cycle over and over again. And I'm going to expect for you to be stupid enough to be deterred from your life purpose because I want you to be petty enough to allow me to turn you completely bitter. A woman that is not going to submit to a man that is that stupid is not bitter. She's just smart. She's connected to what we call the Most High. She's connected to that. And I'm one of them. Because if we would have continued to allow the destructive patterns, nature is not the correct word to use for a lot of these men that exist in this world. It was never in mankind or men's nature to destroy and hurt the woman. That's coming from something totally different. And we can all say, oh, well, this is coming from hell and the lower realms of hell. We can say that, but in reality, even the lower realms of hell is not that stupid. So we're dealing with outer worldly and, interdimensional crap that is merging with our world, and men, instead of them seeing what the issue is, they keep themselves dumbed down. So the black man, he's going to have to be really, really careful because he has proudly taken on the position of ignorance. Most of them have proudly taken on the position of ignorance. And the problem is that they believe that the system that was built, which is basically, they mainly focus on the prison system because they want to be criminals. They want to be losers. But the system that was built was actually built, the entire system that we live in the world was actually built by an ancient civilization. And a lot of them look like us. So while they're steadily trying to tear down the system, that the system works because it makes sense individually, it makes sense as well as a collective. While they're steadily trying to tear down the paradigm that gives us the very same security. For example, when you hear them saying Earth is a prison, this has roots in unappreciation. Can you imagine if the Earth did not exist? I mean, we would all float up into the universe and die. So a lot of them with their theories, a lot of them with this certain thing that they are teaching is built on destruction. And it's to me, that is the only concept that they speak about that is very scary, because the earth provides security. The earth provides water to drink, earthly pleasures. They are so ignorant that they don't even know why we're here. So a woman that is keen and very aware of her purpose, no matter where she is incarnated in, should never submit to a man, because what ends up happening in that submission is that you end up going down the road of stupid, and you end up in the middle of nowhere, not knowing where you at, not being happy. So this is one of the reasons why most women should not submit. They will tell you, submit to this stupidity. No, never. If it were a man that were telling me, I'm going to provide everything for you and not question you and give you everything that you want and to sustain your life, then maybe it would be okay to submit, but to also be a dominant submissive. But it's not okay, because most of them are not making that offer. Most of them are offering you struggle. A lot of you women know full well that you do better without these men. If they do it all the time, you'll be doing great. You'll be damn near a millionaire. You'll be on the road to complete security and healing. And then you'll have one of them come into your life and completely destroy it. Everything was fine before this man waltzed into your life. And then as soon as he walked into your life, things became very unstable. And even in their instability, they're still asking you to submit to instability. Why would you do that? A lot of them will say, "Oh, well, the earth is not real, or the world is going to end, so you should submit to this." And that's a lie. It's a trick. Something that many of them have not figured out, because I can promise you, in another 30 years, if you're lucky, you'll still be here. And if you've sat around and submitted to an ignorant man that was meant to take you to the gutter, you're going to wonder, what was I thinking? You're going to regret. You're going to regret life. I'll never forget this couple that I met years ago. They're gone, they're dead and gone now. But they were married. They were a married couple, but they were living in an abandoned house with no running water. As a woman, I'm not going to submit to some drunk alcoholic man who's going to lead me to the gutter, essentially, because that's exactly where they will end up. Especially the ones that feel that regular exploitation of you as a woman is the way to go. A woman, for the most part, if she is in a relationship with a man in particular, because they're way too physically strong, they have physical strength, she should not be submissive to that man. That man should never be able to raise his hand to her or check her. Men should bow to the woman. No woman should submit and pretend. Like, you ever see these women submitting to a totally ridiculous man, and the man will be pretending that she's so strong, but she's strong in her what? Her ability to allow that man to destroy her totally. That's the only thing that you're strong in, your ability to destroy yourself and to sabotage yourself. And right now we're coming up on Imbolc, and what that means is that springtime is sprung up. A lot of these men that are creating death and destruction and sickness and illness and fear and all of that, they need to be avoided because they're going to destroy the seeds. Ain't nothing going to grow around those types of men. We'll be looking at the earth and it'll be so desolate. It'll be desolate. I mean, you won't see the plushness of the earth. You won't have the air and the oxygen from the trees. And even with technology, the way that they rationale it and the way that they have decided to deal with the problem of lack of resources on the earth, which is the fact that they have done a lot, instead of them, even in the day and age of technology, they're still trying to deal with the problems of the earth by reducing the population. So men, I don't care what race they are, what background they come from, this whole depopulation plot is going to lead to the next generation being totally screwed. This earth is going to look a lot like Mars if we continue. It's going to be just like Mars. I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie Mission to Mars with Don Cheadle. I think I'm going to watch that movie because, if I'm not mistaken, the entities that kept attacking Don Cheadle in that movie were almost like spirits and ghosts. Mankind for far too long has thought that they could get rid of problems by killing a person. But then when it became so painfully obvious that these spirits walk and roam the earth amongst them, what they decided was, oh, I'm being haunted by these spirits that are inconsolable. And the way I'm going to do it is by ignoring it and pretending that it's not there. So this is the whole reason why the mediums and the witches and the people that know about that, the people that know about making sure that souls pass through and that they're not roaming the earth. This is why they are important. So right now, what is going on is that the realm that we separate, which is supposed to be heaven and hell, both are important. We still have them stuck. Most of them are living in the year 2022, but it's almost like they're still back in the 1500s. So we got a lot, like women cannot submit to these men. Men need to submit to the woman, period. And I'm not talking about some stupid woman that doesn't have any kind of ideas or intelligence. Those women should not be given any power. Women that have some kind of intelligence, those should be the ones that men should submit to. Should never have been the woman submitting to the man. We've been living like this for thousands of years on this earth, and it ain't got nothing but worse and worse. The woman's input is always going to be important, and so now we have it to where men are totally discounting the woman and her nurturing nature, but also her nature of survival. And they're totally trying to demonize this. And this is a problem. I would never agree. I would be the most difficult woman that you ever had in your life for you to expect for me as a witch, knowing damn well that I sit here and I do what I do and it works, and I'm going to actually submit to you, and you tell me that supernatural healing and powers and witchcraft doesn't exist. I can't submit to that, and I won't. When you try to reason with them and bring some kind of logic and tell them, well, sir, if witchcraft is not real and us witches are just crazy, why is it condemned in your Bible? They can't explain it. They don't even feel that they have to explain themselves to us. The misogyny is the COVID-19 misogyny. Men thinking that they are being men when they're not being men. They're being something totally different. They're being monsters. They're not even there. I can't like when I take a look at a lot of these men and they'll and they'll and they'll say, oh, you want me, or no, I don't. I can't even like everything about them completely is removed from nature, and I can't do it. Everything about them is completely removed from nature and does not have any soul resonance for me, especially when it comes to narcissism. Narcissism has existed for a long time, and a lot of these men have become more narcissistic, and it's so sad because you see women becoming more narcissistic, but it's not that. It's really women are not narcissistic. It's just that I know that your destructive seeds are bad, and I am going to be the queen of swords, the queen of spades that I'm supposed to be. Because if we allow these men to run amok and do what they want to do and give them whatever they want, then they are going to continue to do harm to the people around them and to just whoever they want. Can't allow these men to run amok like that. And you see women supporting men in abusing women. I want to see you abuse her. Well, why? Because I think that, I'm mad at her. I don't like her. Women like that are not going to be allowed to rule either, because those women are stupid. Women like that have no power. because they have this biasness about them. They will destroy the whole world because they can't be you. You ever notice that as a woman, and this dynamic typically plays out when you're dealing with a man and his mama, because his mama makes a huge difference. If his mama is jealous and competing with you, and she's just all bent out of shape for no reason, and creating all this hell and war on in your house and in your children, and creating it for what? They're literally fighting over nothing. I've seen people even on youtube.com fighting and arguing over these limited beliefs when it's obvious how abundant and fruitful it is. A lot of men right now, because they are programmed to think that they believe that the economy is bad. Well, why do people think that the economy is bad, but there's people that are getting richer and more wealthier every single day? Why do you have a consciousness that the economy is bad? Our government is giving out free money. Obviously, the economy is not bad. When you think about it, they'll tell you something, but it's very coded because people have slipped into darkness in their minds. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you're dealing with people like that, this is one of the reasons why so many people are enslaved in their minds. Nobody is trying to enslave you except for you. I was watching somebody's chat, and I noticed somebody had chatted, "Well, I'm headed to the plantation. I'll see y'all later." What? Why would you relate your job that you getting paid for the plantation? Slaves didn't get paid. They didn't get no paycheck. So we got a lot of people with a lot of ignorant views, and see, I can't get down with those types of people. If you call yourself a slave or something like that, if you think of that yourself as that way, I can't hang with you. I can't commune with you because you are in a mental prison. I can't do it. I don't hang around with people that punish themselves. I don't hang around with people or get down with people who are grown people who are running around here acting like children. You might as well just call yourself a child, an underdeveloped child. A lot of these men want you to submit to slavery. Why? Because they've submitted to it. For some reason, They are, here's my theory, that they are either under possession of ghosts of the past, or either they were put, those enchantments was put on them at a very early age. It's either a possession or an enchantment, and either they are going to be possessed or enchanted by good spirits or bad spirits. Our world has not gotten any better by all women submitting to men. This is the crap that these men will tell you. If, as a woman, I submit to a man and his ignorant, impoverished, or outdated views of the world, I will be doing myself, as well as future generations and the rest of the world, a disservice. Because what we've submitted to is sickness and struggle. Most of us. And all a lot of these men can do is run around pretending that they're in the 5%ers, and they're not. And this is what creates a lot of the sickness and the health problems. I, in my business, especially I'm gonna tell you ladies something. When I'm meditated up, not medicated, but meditated up, when I am in my higher meta frequency and manifesting that prosperity and security to where there is no worry on my head, on my heart, on my throat. This is a very relaxed state of being that is a normal state of being. When you get a man that is forcing you to submit to his misogyny and his need to knock you down to the ground so that you can be low and under his feet, then you are submitting to poverty, sickness, and ultimately death of your spirit. This is sick. Men like that, in the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be phased out and disrespected. Men like that are the reason why we have sickness and plagues. Trust me, the universe has recognized this. All of them are headed for destruction. Every last one of them. And it don't matter if you have feelings or emotions for them. What do you have emotions for? Do you have emotions of longevity and prosperity and security? Or do you just have emotions for a man that is leading you to sickness and death and destruction? So this is the reason why you can't submit to every man. You shouldn't be submitting to no man. Yeah, baby, I'm gonna do what you say. Uh-huh. And people like me will be sitting there like, wait, but you gonna lose, you're gonna go towards some destruction. And it usually involves them going out there trying to involve someone else because they're terribly codependent, not self-reliant at all, completely weak. So a lot of y'all women that submitted to the will of a lot of these men, you're gonna suffer. And you can't keep projecting that onto women that are too smart to do that. Right now, if it's a woman out there that expects me to submit, especially to this man just recently, you are going to have a lot of problems and issues because my gods are not going to let me do that. So you're going to have a lot of issues. You're not going to force me to submit to that. Which is struggling, sitting around talking about I can't breathe and I can't breathe unless he around. No, that is not what love should be based on. This is something that is a mistake. A man trying to weaken a woman, he is going to do nothing but create destructive energy in your life, and you're going to constantly be sick. And you won't see your grandchildren. That's one of the reasons why they're so negative about you having grandchildren, because they wanted your life force to be shut out even before that happened. They don't want to see the woman be honored in any kind of way because there is a hatred that came from where? A lot of us don't even know where the hell misogyny came from. I mean, we can theorize that it was religion, which religion was a side effect of that. Misogyny reared its ugly head around that time, and they wrote a book about it called the Holy Bible, which was a story, but it was meant for us to decipher and to discern. The Bible was not written so that we could stay in the hell of those words. The Bible was written so that we could surpass it. But many of them stay in it because they want to grandstand. And a lot of women that are a lot of you guys that are pioneer women, a lot of you guys that want security, you're not doing it just so that you can say, what you can do, I can do better. I'm trying to compete with you. No, we're not trying to compete with you. We're just trying to make sure that we good. But men always try to make it about feminism. Oh, you're just trying to compete with me. Actually, that was the furthest thing from my mind. So it's not about saying, oh, I can do something better than you and you're a man and I'm mad. No, that's not what this is about. This is about what is real. This is about what is better for the greater good. And a woman submitting to a drug addicted, drunk, depressed, sad, misogynistic man, that ain't gonna get you nowhere in life but in the ground, roaming the earth as an inconsolable spirit. And it's not about not submit. So a lot of them think that submission is about you not cheating on them. Well, you don't have to be a submissive woman to be with one man. There is no way on Goddess's green earth that I would ever submit my will to an insecure man, because he's going to create all of that you're feeling in your heart chakra, in your stomach. He's going to create these gases and this feeling of uncomfortability, and you just feel uncomfortable and confused. So a lot of women will ask me, well, Jamila, how do you manifest the money that you get? How do you manifest it? It's a frequency that I put myself on, and my spirit and my aura. Explaining it to somebody sometimes is not going to do them any good, because I've sat with women right in front of me and tried to show them, and they were still blind, and they still went and submitted to the wills of a sick, disenfranchised, impoverished man. Who is making them sick? What good is having sex with a man when it bears no fruit? And I'm not talking about the fruit of having a baby all the time. I'm just talking about the fruit of the energy. If why would somebody have sex with a man who's thinking in his mind, you're a woman, you're lower than me, and I want you to do bad in life? Why would somebody want to have sex with a man that even thinks that way? What good are you to me? Hello, Angela. To the point where when I have sex with you, instead of it producing any good energy, it produces nothing but destruction and nothing and nothingness. It don't produce nothing. Man and woman, when they come together in spirit and they're making love, they are producing power and energy. And you'll see these men, they'll be having sex, dead sex with these women, and they'll come online and be yelling for Jamila. Well, didn't you just get through making love to your wife? So they having dead sex with these women and coming online and crying to Jamila. Make it make sense to me. So you just had sex. You didn't have an understanding. Maybe if you had an understanding of the sex magic, because all they think is poverty, poverty, poverty. So they have sex and then they put, and then you're having sex with them. They're thinking about destroying someone else and what they built while they're having sex. And then they wonder why they can't produce nothing. Then they come online and say, I'm going to try to exploit somebody. And then you wonder why you ain't got nowhere, why you ain't going to produce nothing. Why at the end of the day, at the end of this year, you are not going to have anything. Why do they do that? This makes no sense. And then you'll have women empowering these types of men, but there's no empowerment in that. And you got stupid men out here, they want to follow in the footsteps of men like that. And then always trying to make it seem like it's where he's physically at. You know, I can say whatever I want to say about certain people, but let me tell you something. I've had the pleasure of, just having phone sex magic with a man that had a greater understanding. And me and this man would produce thousands of dollars together, thousands in a day. And you got men out here that are physically walking this earth literally as a zombie, literally walking the earth as a zombie, trying to make it seem like there's some kind of prize. When literally, I don't even have to physically touch a man to produce with his energy. First of all, I don't need no woman. As if you completely separate yourself from lower vibrational people, just in general, you can produce a lot by yourself. If a man is not, if a man that you have in your life is creating struggle, he got to go. Otherwise, you're going to have nothing but struggle. And so what they do is they'll listen to these men on here, because they know that they got these women, and don't come and attack me because you think that your woman is listening to me, because that's what they'll do. They'll say, oh, my woman gonna hear her, so I got to come and discredit her. No, I'm talking to my people. I'm talking to the ladies that are watching me that are wondering, how do you produce what you produce by yourself? I didn't have a man that I was sexually active with when I was in that hotel right before I produced. Like, guys, I was producing at least when I was living in that hotel for 3 4 months. I think I was there for 5 months. I think my income was somewhere sliding between 7 and 10 grand per month in a hotel. The moment I allow a misogynistic, insecure, impoverished in the mind man, judgmental of women in my house, that was when things became unstable. When you get rid of them, that's when you become stable. And men like that know it's the truth. And so what they will do is they will sit up there and constantly harass and stalk you. There's a way we dealing with that this year, y'all. They listening all the time and they watching, ladies. If you noticed, I've been talking about the Black Candle Vigils, haven't I? I've been talking about it for weeks now. Now, when I did my full moon Black Candle ritual, they immediately began hating and showing themselves their true colors as being these lower life forms that we want nothing to do with. Then they wonder why at the end of the day, the poverty that they wish on us is going to happen to them. So then they get scared. It doesn't actually occur to them to maybe possibly change their behavior. No, what they do is they go even deeper into the stupidity. So for me, as a woman, I'm not worried about being accepted or admired by them. They want you to feel bad because, it's like, well, I'll just sit here and admire myself until somebody else comes along. That I feel a man for me has got to be worthy of even submitting to me. Angela Brown said, I'm finished with the men. I'm not finished with him, but he's got to be willing to, especially when as a witch, as a practitioner, everything that I do works. My spells work. They know it works. But for a man to say, oh, well, I'm a man and I don't appreciate you having that kind of power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be stupid enough to come online or wherever else and try to brag and say that I took your power, which you don't have the ability to do that. But then I am going to try to negate or deflect away from your power, make you feel bad for what you did. And then I'm supposed to be seen as a man of value in your life. So, for me, a man has to understand, like, I can see this woman, I can see what she's doing, and I want to be a part of that. I want to live my life without all that struggle and poverty too. A lot of them are like, no, I want to struggle. Please bring more struggle. Bring more exploitation. Bring about more suffering and inconsolable spirits on the earth. Yeah, come on, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that I can't do. And I've never been the type of woman that just always needed a man all up in me and stuff. I ain't it's like I'd rather rate for the right one. And the right one has definitely not came along. Because not only that, I don't work a job. I'm an entrepreneur. I am self-employed. And especially if you self-employed or an entrepreneur, you can't have that kind of energy around you. Yeah, I'm not gonna fit my life into a man's mold. He's got to fit into my mold, or he got to go. And a man that sits around all day talking about them women and calling a woman a bitch, and or either trying to in a negative way, trying to degrade a woman, calling a woman broke all day. Why would somebody want to be with somebody like that? What they they delusional. And some of them dress themselves up in suits and stuff, and it just looks like a pig in a blanket. It's not looking good out there for men. It's not, especially black men. So for me as a woman, I'll never submit to a man, you know. Now if I run into Christian Grey, no, I'm joking. But because I have a life mission and a life path. I'm not gonna get off of my path as a witch. A man has to accept what I do, who I am, love it just as much as I do, and decide that he wants to live in joy and prosperity and happiness with me. Otherwise, you got to go. You got to get up out of here. You can't be around me. You ain't got to die, but you can't come over here. Your energy is not welcome. Your input is not welcome. I don't care about what you think. I'm not holding on to every word that you say. In fact, I can't even listen to you. I don't even want to listen to a man talk about another woman like that. If you're a woman that feels the need to listen to a man talking about another woman like that, then you're just as weak as he is. You're just as disenfranchised as he is. I'd rather hear a man. But see, that's because I'm very different. I don't have the insecurities and the pettiness that a lot of these women have. So I don't need to listen to a man degrade a woman so that I can feel empowered within myself. That's sick. That energy ain't good either. So a lot of y'all, the reason why you can't get anywhere in life, why you start these businesses and stuff that fail, is because you got this man who's got all this lower vibrational, lowered frequency energy who's sitting around you hoping that you fail. And God forbid you actually lay down and have sex with a man like that. I mean, the sex may feel good temporarily, and depending on him. And then, I had a man tell me, because, I was telling this person, I was like, well, I'm not happy with them, with this and that. And he said, oh, well, that's enough for you. And I said, well, you got to go. I said, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, I said, I got to get rid of this man. He got to go. Any man that limits me, he's got to go. You are not welcome. You are not respected, and you're certainly not loved. A lot of y'all women will go from making hundreds of thousands per year, and you get with this low-lifed man, and he either want to take your money or block your money. A man should never be an obstacle in your life. And these people are crazy. When a man starts to try to deter you or lower your value, and you supposed to just sit there and go, yes, sir, I I'm sorry. And if you say anything back to him, you being disrespectful. Well, yeah, I'm gonna continue to be disrespectful to you. I'm gonna continue. I'm sorry. Listen, ask yourself this question. Why should you have to lower yourself and struggle for any man on this earth? Explain to me the logic in that. Why should any woman have to lower herself for a man? That don't even sound right. And a lot of them Especially the black men, they'll run around here and make a whole bunch of babies and laugh at you for being at the welfare line. Hello? And that's a despicable ass person. I mean, black men better be careful because you know they when it comes to the black woman, she is canceling him every single day. Black men are being canceled because for some reason, and it's because of, again, it's because of their need to bow down to other races of men because they got big noses. Like I've never in my life seen a black men feeling subservient to a man because he's got a thinner nose bridge than theirs. And then sitting up there cracking on black features, talking about aboriginal. And like when you think of, like I've seen it, I've heard it and seen it, and it's like, oh my God. That's why I was telling women, I said, well, if you get a black man, if you like black men, you get a black man that got good sense, that ain't trying to lower you as a woman, y'all can certainly make it together and do very well. But a lot of them, it's just ignorance. So I'm not gonna submit to that, and I'll never submit to you. And what is this, a life or death situation? Not for me. Every time they send you through that cycle of struggle, and then you always remember the last time that they gonna send you through that. You know what? I ain't gonna never go through this again. Are you for real? And they out here confused doing humiliation rituals on goddesses. That is, I don't think so. And see, it don't matter if you in the upper realm or the lower realm, and that don't matter. That's not going to be accepted. You're going to be cut off at the head doing that at any moment. Because even, I don't care if it's a lesser God or a higher God, that God is going to go by the command of that woman, especially if she knows her power. So men are very stupid. I wouldn't care if it's my twin flame. They try to act like, well, I'm your twin flame or your twin ray, and I and I just and I'm deserving to tell you what to do. Hey, you know what? No, nobody ever said that you had to be with your twin flame. So none of that even matters. They try to come with that, well, we got a soul tie or a soul connection. Well, that connection can be broken. And you got to go. So a lot of y'all women understand that, and y'all saw what happened. Y'all saw the ritual and y'all saw the reaction to the ritual, because a lot of these men are not ready for the power that we bring. And not only do they want to take it up, gobble it up, and poop it out, but then again, they also want to lower the value. And those types of men, you are not going to be empowered, not ever. And the type of women that they got amongst them can't empower them either. This is why they hold on. But it's time to let those types of men go. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be proving myself to a man. He's got to prove himself to me. And I'm certainly not going to be competing with a bunch of hood boogers and hood rats for his affection. Mm-mm. So, and a lot of them, it doesn't matter how much money they have. A lot of them are like that. So we're coming up on the day and age. We've been coming up on that day and age. And, because you notice how when we were in isolation because of COVID. If you did live with a man, he, for some reason, he got more violent and frustrated. And if a man is not going to allow himself to be led by the correct woman, you can tell because he's raging against women all the time, being disrespectful. It was never the correct thing to do. Maybe at a time when men were raping and pillaging women and it was okay, it was kind of law. But at this time, as those laws got put into place and set straight to where they are going to think twice before they do anything to you, as a woman, you should not be submitting to a man's will that is like that under any circumstances. So a lot of them will say, well, I cussed you out and I called you a nothing ass skank and I called you this, this, and that. And you had something to say back. But this other woman that I got over here, she just lets me beat on her every day and cuss her out. And you ain't good as her. Well, then stay with her then. Please do. Please stay with that woman. That's who you need to stay with. Okay. And a lot of these men that are practicing polygamy, they can't stay with just one woman. They got to have several women because that that one woman can't control that man. She's not, she's being way too submissive to him. And so she got to go out there and find other victims. Like, can you go and cheat on me? I've done that before. I've actually done that before. I've been in a relationship with a man that got violent and abusive, and I bought in other women. I said, "Can you come over here?" And because I was I was younger then, but when you are one woman with one man and y'all are manifesting your life together, and that man knows that he needs to be respectful and not be putting his hands on you or spiritually abusing you in any kind of way, then you've got yourself a good situation. If it's a man that's doing anything that is outside of the realm of showing you respect as a woman, he got to go. And a lot of them, they be so abusive to these women behind closed doors and acting. And a lot of women, I dealt with an abusive man, and I kind of got programmed that way. I was kind of programmed a little bit, but then the programming got broke. The programming got broke when he brought struggle into my life. I was like, oh God, no, no, never. So if a man is not willing to be submissive to me totally, he don't have, and see, now I got trust issues. So this is where this has came about, because I got trust issues at this point. And do you blame me? Do you blame any woman for having trust issues in a man? So if you're not willing to bow to me and show some respect, you got to go. And they act like it's not supposed to change, especially some of you women that have admitted to being in abusive relationships. My grandmother used to tell me, don't ever tell a man what another man has done to you. And she was right about that. But you know what, on the other side of the token, if that man is really for you, you should be able to talk to him about anything and him have understanding and compassion and love for you, and knowing that he needs to do something different. He should have the logic in his mind to know, well, if she walked away from that man for doing that to her, then surely she's going to walk away as well as disgrace me as a man and hold her head up high. If she left that other man because of what he did to her, then surely she's going to walk away from me. And that's just the way that that cookie crumbles. Don't no woman want to be tied up in a man's, insect. Because where they're like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you grow the hell up? Tied up in his insecurities. He constantly got an attitude, acting crazy, psychotic, talking all crazy to you. And then they'll sit up there and say, well, you want to live with me. No, I don't. I would probably be ready to hang myself if I lived with you. No, no, thank you. Constantly tied up in crap and him trying to be somebody. I was saying yesterday, I was saying it's too many people out here that want to be an agent and a copycat of other people rather than being Neo. I don't want the agents, the agents, how they appeared in the Matrix and they would replicate and duplicate themselves and they was all the same person. They all looked the same and they was hell bent on destroying Neo. I want Neo. I don't want the agents. I want Neo. And Neo represented individuality. The agents represented, to me, this is my interpretation. The agents represented the copycat men. I want to be like that man over there. Well, why do you want to be like that? Oh, because he convinced me that I should. Well, then you a fool. And with that said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna light this thing up. I will catch y'all later. If you want to get in that black candle vigil, so that because I know a lot of you guys are wanting to manifest the home that you want. You got these broke men that tell you you can't get nowhere and they convincing you to live in trap houses and dope houses and ghettos with mold and lead paint chipping off of the wall and so if you a woman that want to get somewhere and completely block out all of their bad energy, and especially their agent, weak feminines who are not divine. These are very confused women that just want acceptance, so women and men can be a problem for a lot of y'all because they confused and silly, then y'all can get in that black candle vigil because they got mad about that. But boy, the hatred that they showed for that, and that was because it was too powerful. And then they got mad about $750. I was like, that's what that says, $750. What's 6 times 150? Because they can affect you energetically. So the black candle vigil is going to completely ward off their psychic attacks because they'll be sitting up here bragging about doing psychic attacks, until a curse manifests in their life because they don't have the power to curse you. They only have the power to distract you and psychically attack you. Okay. So if you guys want to know more about that black candle vigil, because they got mad about that. Okay. And we did one on the full moon and they felt threatened, but that's because they're weak. First of all, why do you feel so threatened by other people that you can't do you, sir? Why you feel so threatened by other people, ma'am? I see people doing rituals on here all the time. I don't feel some type of way unless they trying to do some kind of stupid, ignorant, humiliation, clownish, funny mirror ritual on me because I reverse all humiliation rituals. You know, those Those types of things that they are doing is only going to end them up in the gutter. And this has already been proven. Okay. And they are on the attack. They feel very attacked. They want to tear down what you built. They want to tear down your plans. For example, if you tell them, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they go into work, they go and work overtime to try to mess you up. That black candle vigil will definitely help, especially in addition to other work that you are doing, because that's the main aspect of it. Okay, so y'all get at me if y'all need me, because I do real rituals. Humiliation rituals are not real rituals. I mean, it could possibly work, but it's all just stupidity and ignorance and low lifedness and immaturity. Humiliation rituals are immaturity, aka I'm an immature child that doesn't really know how to manifest anything, so I've got to exploit somebody, is basically what that is. You know what I'm saying? Well, Angela, that's the whole point of the black and then also it's just that we don't want their energy to touch us. We don't want their energy to touch us. And if you got a man that's close to you like that, I know that I couldn't even sleep last night. I was up all night because of what this man was doing. And I ain't going to be having that problem no more. So some of y'all do need to cut ties with them permanently, because they not going to do nothing but keep bringing struggle into your life when they see, who would want a man that when the man see them winning, they go straight into, I'm going to try to get you. It kind of reminds you of that movie, The Color Purple, that damn Uncle Ruckus. Ugh. So black men, they have a serious problem with that. They are enslaved because they feel bad about themselves. They don't feel good about themselves unless they are accepted by people that don't look like them. And it's not about being racist towards anybody, but it's all about, you don't even have the basic self-love. So that's why they go off into a tangent and attach themselves to other people that are racist. And it's perfectly fine to call them the N word with a hard ER, because that's exactly what they are. Spirit gonna call them like they see it. And even though it's wrong to say that, it can be triggering, but that's exactly what you're dealing with. And black people have got to be more progressive. No black person should ever put up with a non-progressive black. It's too important, you know what I'm saying? Because, especially being the way black people have been held back for so long, those kinds of agents of destruction, they got to be dealt with. And you can't make the mistake of feeling sorry for them or being in love with them. So especially the ones that are running around here discriminating against black women because of their own self-hatred. Those types have got to be cut down real quick. For real. Okay. So anyway, I'll see y'all later. Hit that thumbs up for me. Share this live if you don't mind in your social media. And their need to control other people's narratives are going to be their downfall. Okay, work on yourself is what you got to do. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Blessings.